na wale wako huko nyuma tumerequest msonge mbele, tafadhali mfanye hivyo. Okay. I think our dignitaries will be arriving shortly. Na wakiingia tutapata nafasi ya kusimama kwa heshima tu ya wa CS ambaye ni in charge of defense, ambaye she's an indigenous woman, Soipan Honorable Soipan Tuya, ambaye tunaheshimu na tunafurahia kama indigenous people. Si ni kweli? So wache to monitor kidogo on the coming in. Unaweza hiyo ya Turukana ndio ilikuwa mzuri, hiyo tumetoa saa hii. Rudisha ile tumetoa saa hii. Ambao watakuwa wana dance, lakini wengine wao wameketi. The Turkana community representative Johnny Pokot. Hao wametosha. Thank you very much, our CS, for coming. Thank you very much to our participants, our indigenous men and women, our young people. It's been a great time to receive our CS, Honorable Soipan Tuya, our CS for Defense. I think it's a special moment for us as indigenous people, but also for us as women of indigenous communities. We are really honored to have this opportunity to have you. And I would like, first of all, to put our hands together for our CS for making the time, for creating the time, for prioritizing the Community Land Summit to join us this afternoon. It's such a blessing, and we really thank you for coming. This audience, your CS, for the last 1.5 days now, we've invested time to really reflect about our communities, as a pastoralist communities, but also the rangelands. We have affirmed the opportunities that really our communities, our land, our tenure rights sits at the core. I know the support and the facilitation that Impact Kenya has provided jointly with Paran Alliance and other partners has made it possible to have this summit for the last 5 years in a row, and creating the space that is so unique for the indigenous people, for the pastoralist communities, to have a moment to sit, reflect, learn, and network. There are many, many results that have come as a result of these opportunities that have been presented to us as a platform for learning and interaction. Our CS, we are honored to have you. And I know when you are here, the government is here. And I know the audience here is waiting to hear from you, what you have for us. And we have heard also from other dignitaries from the government who have also made themselves available, including the NLC, who already had a moment to present through the CEO, Madam Tadache, and also Bwana Haemba, the director at the ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I don't want to water down what will be said by our CEO from Impact, whom I would want to hand over the mic to just give a brief about our being here and what we have been able to do. And then he will be able to invite Honorable CEO from NLC, who will in turn invite our CS for her address. Welcome, Bwana Ole Kaunga.
Asante sana, and a great morning. I'm Jambo tena. Yeah, tumeshukuru. At least we are holding on together. Kwa wafugaji kutoka mbali. Na kutoka pia sehemu ya nchi nyingine, tunawakaribisha sana. So, Bwana Waziri, I think kitu ya kwanza, Honorable Soipan sio mgeni kwa hii kazi ambayo tunafanya. We've been in the civil society processes. She used to be our legal support. Wakati huo tulikuwa upande huu mwingine na tuna engage serikali wakiwa pale. Sasa unaona vile vitu inabadilika. Sasa hivyo ndio vitu inabadilika. But she has continued being a blessing to us as indigenous people, so whatever roles she has played in through her career. And we take this opportunity to welcome her to continue the process, but to better understand where we stand right now and what she can help navigate and also push for us when she's there. So, Waziri, tumekuwa hapa. This is the 5th Community Land Summit. We started in 2021 in Laikipia. And then 2022, it was still in Laikipia. 2023, we were a bit courageous enough, we went out to Samburu. And then we gained a bit of confidence. We pushed and we went to Isiolo. This time we say, no, let's now, Nairobi pia ni yetu. Na serikali iko wapi? Now let's now go to Nairobi. And we were well received here at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. And the idea was to accelerate securing of community lands after the 2016. In 2021, when we started, Actually, only a few handful of communities in Laikipia had about 2 or 3 that had gotten their titles. So the idea was to how do we accelerate the registration of community lands, but through the way we changed the agenda, we investments in the community land. Last year it was purely on carbon. So it's a collective action of civil society leaders, community leaders, to continue discussing about issues that are very important to indigenous peoples. So this time round, we have 15 or 14 counties. 14, Isiolo, Laikipia, Samburu, Mandera, Turkana, Garissa, Tana River, Wajir, Mandera, West Pokot, Marsabit, and then also mahali popote unajua mahali wafugaji wako hapa. And then again, when we started, it was only just about Kenya. But 2023, 2024, na 2025, we have now been having neighboring countries. So we have Ethiopia, we have Tanzania, we have Uganda, Southern Sudan. Pia ni wafugaji. We co-share some resources across boundaries, international boundaries. So these are actually are very important. So the discussion this time around is about why do we need community lands to be secure? So how do we enhance livelihoods in these areas? So we've been discussing about first investment of those people and women, children is our heritage. We embedded in tourism. I mean, we embedded in pastoralism. And then there are also issues about now, issues like that investment in these lands, like carbon, conservation, geothermal, wind power. These are resources within those spaces. So these have been our discussions. And how do you continue to engage government to make this a reality? Only a handful of communities right now have their titles. Samburu has done well. Laikipia has done well. Process has begun in Samburu, the Isiolo, Marsabit, Garissa, Turkana. There are quite a number of, Mr. Kaimba is here, who's been the anchor in the government. So we have some progress. On the side part of civil society also, we can say that there is progress. We are now strengthening relationships and coordination with government. We are complementing efforts, and it's being even done in a better, not just sitting and talking. We are now have a framework of working together. Impact as an MOU and NLC, we have an MOU with National Drought Management Authority, we have an MOU with State Department of ASAL, we have an MOU with the Institute of Development Standards, University of Nairobi. These are ways to scale work and to continue working, and for purposes of ensuring that communities pastoralist communities at the center of development in their own land. Na pia hapa hivi, it's not the way we started Waziri, where we were being seen as this guy promoting primitivity. The agenda is not, there are so many professors here. Kuna maprofesa hapa hivi. Naona Dr. Hassan ameketi hapa hivi. Dr. There's so many guys here, women and young people. So there are resources. The first resource in the rangelands, in the pastoral community, are the people. Now, tuko hapa. Ni sawa? The resources, the first resource are people. Na sote tuko hapa, kuna wamama, kuna vijana. So we appreciate all the efforts holding together. And we want to. We don't also want to be seen to be the periphery. Tungependa ufugaji, pastoralism, sustainable pastoralism, to be recognized as one of key contribution of GDP in this country. And we need a policy. We need a policy. We need a policy to drive this better. Sinivyo. And let's also appreciate that there are a number of progressive government policies that are already functional in these areas. kuna ukijaribu kuangalia katika makaunti ambayo tumetoka, there are tangible things we can feel. Unaona serikali iko na inafanya kazi, but tunataka sijai kusikia mtu amesema ametosheka na pesa. Ni umesikia? Sasa sisi bado tunataka kusongea kabisa. Tunalipisha ile miaka ingine yote ile tumekuwa mbali na serikali. Si hivyo? Ile miaka ingine yote, so we now want to be very close, kusongea kabisa, kukaribia. So I think this is what we want. We want to be not on the periphery. We want to be at the center, and that's why we are. We want to consolidate our voice here, and thanks so much for coming. We'll consolidate the actions here and always communicate with the government that this is how we feel we can continue forward, and to minimize some of the challenges that we are seeing. So far, we want community lands to be registered because they can minimize conflict, we can better manage the land, but we also can invite respectable, responsible investment in these lands, based on the law, based also on our traditional law. Kuna wengi hapa even wanakuwa by cultural protocol yao, na pia tungependa kwamba ile ma investment ama ile kazi yote ambayo iko kwa upande wa wafugaji ama katika ardhi ya jamii, we want to benefit for as long as those investments are there, not against development. Companies say, oh, hataki maendeleo. That's argument. Wangapi wanataki maendeleo kwa ardhi zao? Kuna mtu amepinga maendeleo? Hata wakati hatuko tunajua haki, sasa tunajua haki. Na haki iko kwa sheria. Haki iko kwa sheria. Tunaambia makampuni yale yanakuja pale, jamani tuheshimiane, tufuate sheria. Tufuate sheria. Ila tukifuata sheria, sasa itakuwa njia mwafaka ya maendeleo. Bila kutupa wakati, nafikiri I will turn to Evelyn tupate kuendelea, because waziri angependa kwenda shughuli nyingine za serikali, na tunashukuru kwamba amekuja hapa. Si sawa? Sasa asanteni sana. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa moja wapo sisi kuja Nairobi. We want to be felt by the government. Tumekuja sasa.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands again to Mr. Ole Kaunga for that great summary and framing of why we have actually been here and what we've been able to do. And indeed, as you rightly observed, tumesogea kwa serikali. Na pengine next time, tunaweza pata hata ule mkubwa kabisa kutufanyia kikao. Si ni kweli? Kwa sababu tayari tumesogea na tumepiga hiyo hatua. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to invite our CEO, National Land Commission, Dr. Kabale, for... Nimekosea jina ama nimefanyaje? Yes, akuja atuhutubie hapa kidogo na aweze kumwalika officially our CS aweze kutuzungumzia. Karibu sana. Na samahani kwa majina nimechanganya.
Hujachanganya, lakini sijafika hapa udaktari. Dr. Hassan anajua. Si tumefurahi sana. Hamjafurahi? Unajua kwa na waziri wa ulinzi hapa si rahisi. Ako na kazi mingi. Amejitolea. Amesema lazima nikuwe na wafugaji nisikie mambo yao. Simpigieni makofi. Juzi nilihudhuria foundation akilaunch Soipantu ya foundation. Na si kitu ameanzisha akiwa waziri. Alianzisha 2014. Na kwa hiyo foundation yake, yale ameyafanya na yale anaendelea kuyafanya ni kitu ambaye imetufungua macho wengine wetu, na ni kitu itaenda kubadilisha maisha ya wale wa chini. Mnajua ametoka sehemu ya community ama ametoka hapa city, Nairobi city. Kwa hivyo hiyo inamaanisha ya kwamba she has the interest yetu yote kwa mioyo yake. That's why kutoka kwa hiyo ofisi yake na kuja kufika hapa, we don't take it for granted. Waziri, Susan, I think wewe utakuja unaitwa nini? Kutafsiri. Tunajiita Kiswahili ni lugha ya kwanza lakini kidogo ni ngumu. Waziri wetu wa ulinzi, Honorable Soipan Tuya, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, nimefurahi tena kuwapa. Nitachanganya waziri, nimesikia jana nimesema yote na lugha ya Kimombo na sidhani kama kila mtu ameelewa, lakini tulikuwa na translator hapa ameweza kutranslate yote, nasikia yale nilisema. Asante sana Susan. Najua nikienda kusema kwa Kiingereza utakuja kuisema. Kwa hivyo Honorable CS, we are privileged to have you here this morning, and we don't take it for granted the fact that you are able to sacrifice your time and be with us this morning. And I know your presence here means a lot to this community land representative, because you are at the central point of, government organ of making decision. That is a cabinet. Very important. So mimi natarajia yale yatatoka hapa. Tafadhali tusinungunike. Sio mambo ya kusema hii na ile, lakini mambo ambayo yataweza kuongoza hata waziri wetu akiwa kwa cabinet aweze kusaidia kuleta sheria maybe ya kutusaidia pia to strengthen our community land issues. I know the government has put a lot of effort by even giving us Community Land Act ambayo inatuongoza, and the government means a lot. Especially I want to address this before I even read my remarks here. I want to give a recap of what we discussed yesterday. Honorable CS, I was here, I gave my opening remarks. My remarks are here. We were waiting for you. I know today that we're going to have official opening today. But, and I managed to get a recap of what we discussed here yesterday, just for your benefits, as before you come to speak to us. But as I would say that, we are so grateful to this current government, particularly by empowering girls from the pastoral communities to sit in the cabinet. We had one, Honorable Soipan here, we got the second one. You all know the second CS? I know the people from Turkana. I'm sure you feel so good, so nice that you have a cabinet secretary, a girl coming from Turkana, yeah? And all of us from the pastoral community, we feel very proud. Particularly me, I'm so proud of Honorable Soipan. She stands with us every time. Every time we need her presence, she's here to come and speak to us on behalf of the government. We are so grateful to this government. Besides the two CSs, I'm talking about ladies. We've been given several PSs, ladies from the pastoral communities, of which I normally say that we've never been empowered by any successive government like this current government has empowered the pastoral communities. And for no reason. We will have no reason to blame the government if we will not take ourselves forward as the pastoral communities, because we've been empowered. So we should stop talking about marginalized in a few years to come. That doesn't mean that we are disadvantaging the others. We were behind. We are just coming up a little bit, isn't it? Ama, you've already arrived. All right, then let's work with the government so that we can arrive. So issues which we discussed yesterday, centrality of land rights. Honorable CS, we said land rights are foundational for social, economical, cultural stability, especially for the pastoralist community. We also talk about women women having remained underrepresented in land governance due to social norms and deliberate exclusions through sensitization. Those sensitization efforts are ongoing. We have Kaemba here, who's representing the ministry. Of course, he's deals with adjudication of community land areas, where now we are doing community land registrations. Those sensitization, Honorable CS, most of the people here are representative from the CSOs who have taken upon themselves to sensitize the communities on the need of safeguarding community land. Political interference and let land capture undermine community rights and exclusive governance. These are some of the issues which has come out of these deliberations yesterday. And I know the government means well to address all this, especially in the pastoral areas. We have private investment frequency proceeds without adequate community consultations, deepening marginalization, the need for free, prior, informed consent. These are matters which arise from these deliberations yesterday, including, I know, the carbon credit. So I'm happy that we are aware of what we need to do. Cross-border pastoralism and mobility. Pastoralism relies entirely on mobility as a survival strategy, driven by climate, water, and pasture availability. Pastoralists operate beyond administrative, political boundaries, guided instead by environmental conditions. Livestock is our passport. We move with our animals, isn't it? When our animals cross border, we also cross border with them. So existing cross-border coexistence among Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, and Somali facilitators movements, but because of inadequate rangelands, natural resource conflicts, livestock diseases, and proliferations of small arms heightened tensions. Different countries, tenor system, shape mobility patterns, and influence cross-border relations. The other matter which we discussed on this was also peace, conflict, dynamic, and governance. We said peace is integral to pastoralism, given mobility across contested areas. I'm sure all of us are a testimony to that the peace actually is very essential for the pastoralists. If you don't have peace, you cannot be crossing borders and grazing anyhow freely. So the use of AJS and ADR in conflict management and resolution is a central pillar in peaceful coexistence of indigenous communities. If you can embrace our elder system, I think the old system, our culture, our cultural system, where there are conflicts, the elders come and address. And I'm happy that even the judiciary, our CS is also a lawyer by training, is embracing this alternative justice system, where now we are embracing the community dialogue to resolve some of the issues instead of rushing to court. Misconceptions portraying pastoralists as violent or uncivilized fuel prejudice and hinder understanding. We stop being cattle rustlers, isn't it? Are we still doing rustling? We are not. Are we? We are not doing cattle rustling. So we are not violent. And I think going forward, I know it's something we've put aside. We are no longer practicing that. And I'm happy the pastoralists, you know, I said we have a sense of identity with the current administrations. Conflict driven, with the conflict drivers include, I'm only reading matters which were discussed and came out of this meeting. One is natural resource competition. Of course, I understand that very well, being a pastoralist girl. Commercialization of cattle rustling, I've just mentioned. We should not be used by people who will tell us, go and steal animals, and they sell them in the market. You rescue your life, you risk your life, go and steal someone's cattle, and then the other rich man will come and get from you and sell them. I understand this very well, it happens. Digital misinformation and social media influence, weakening of traditional governance system. Turudi ile ya zamani, ile wazee wanaketi, wanatatua, tofauti kama iko kati ya jamii, turudie hapo, so that tupunguze mambo mengi ya kukimbia kotini. Emerging threats to pastoralism, land use change, fragmentations, fencing and urban expansion restricts mobility. Sasa kila mtu anafunga fence. Unajua zamani you trade, unaweka ng'ombe, unafungua ng'ombe zako zinaenda huko, zimerudi jioni peke yake. Sasa utaingia kwa fence ya mtu, utalipa, utapelekwa kotini. So that is one of the issues that we have. So mining and resource extractions degrade rangelands and cause environmental pollutions. While it causes these pollutions, I would actually say that it also becomes a source of economic empowerment for the community. It's a high time you embrace these changes. I think most of these essential minerals are found in the pastoral areas. So if we say it's causing pollution and we restrict, then we will never develop. While we look at the welfare of our animals, let's also look at our own economic growth. Policies remain non-pastoralist friendly, as decisions are centralized in capital cities, far from affected regions. I think the reason why we have you here is that you come up with what is really needed. Ni nini hiyo muhimu kabisa tunafaa kuwa nao kwa ground, so that mkiwa hapa tuko na bahati, tuko na waziri wetu hapa anakaa kwa cabinet. Cabinet ndo wanapitishanga hizo sheria, na kama munasema sasa watu wanakaa Nairobi wanatutengenezea sheria, sisi ndo tuko hapa. I hope tumetoka mashinani, si ndio? Na tunajua ile sheria tunataka tupewe. So mkisema itakuwa mzuri sana leo waziri akitoka hapa asiende na malalamishi, aende na recommendation yenu. So climate shocks, drought and market pressures increasingly endanger pastoralist livelihood. Hii ni kila mtu anafikiri anaelewa. Bila drought hata unaona na Lake Naivasha pia imepanda. Displace watu. So climate change, it's everywhere. So what are the recommendations coming from these deliberations yesterday? One is to leverage on indigenous knowledge and blend it with scientific systems for planning, early warning, and land use decisions. These are good recommendations. Strengthen community structures and ensure inclusive participation of women, youths, and PWDs. Honorable CS, yesterday I think I just said something off camp relating to my community. Someone mentioned to me that we want to come up with the Council of Elders. Then I mentioned, do we have women in the Council of Elders? He told me women don't make decisions. So meaning that the formation of that committee, Dr. Hassan, Dr. Hussein, Honorable Nuria, make sure that we are represented in the Council of Elders. So we are saying we fast track community land registrations. Kaemba, this is key. I come from Marsabit County, Saku sub-county. I know my sub-county has issues of land registrations. Probably it's not even your problem as ourselves as ministry and the commission, but it's a data inventory which has not been done by the county. The CSOs from Marsabit who are here, please go and sit with the county government, ensure that this is relooked at, so that Kaimba, when he comes up with a community registration, he will have the right inventory. I know I'm talking about my hometown, but I know it applies to most of you. So if I don't mention any other sub-county within Marsabit, don't see like I am biased. Promote resource sharing protocols. Jidegar protocol on transhumans. I think there's a proposal also to do a protocol on this. These are now good. It can actually be part of even a cabinet paper. Support disaster risk financing, livestock insurance and resilience building, production systems. Enhance capacity building to bridge education and technical gaps. That's why we have the CSOs here. Please, if you are empowered, if you get some little resources, don't just go and sit on that resources. Mobilize communities and empower them. Create knowledge. Yesterday, Honorable CS, we proposed here that we need to have this Community Land Act also translated into the local languages. And we also need to educate communities through local radios, because we have radios in all the 47 counties translated in those local languages. Then it can become very clear and understand disseminations of what actually the government does. The Honorable CS, I think even what the government does can be also be transmitted through those local radios. And I know I have experience of going home, and I can see in the evening people really wait to listen to the local radios. You can even see even midnight, the radio is still on, and everyone is listening. So at the end of the day, everyone wants to hear what is the government saying. I think we need to leverage on that to also inform the public the progress this government has done. So we do enhance capacity, of course, building on bridge education. I've just spoken about that. Continue to amplify pastoralism voice as we head to the International Year of Rangelands in 2026. Next year we'll have International Year of Rangelands. Amplify. Let people know about pastoralism, just like any other economic activities. Pastoralism is one of it. So prioritize community-led conservations, reforestation and sustainable land restoration techniques. So create a regional pastoralism network, jopo la wafugaji to harmonize advocacy. Hii ilitokelezea tu hapa jana. Mnataka kuwa na jopo la wafugaji. Invest in a research on livestock resilience, pastoralism, contribution to national economies, rangeland restorations, and management. So those were a few recaps as my takeaway from yesterday's discussions. And I wanted to say this for the benefit of our Honorable CS who is with us. And this moment now, please join me. And can you all stand up first? So I want us to welcome our CS. Mukae tu hivyo, ni radio tu inapiga kelele. Hakuna mkono ya kukaribisha. So let's my now singular honor to invite our CS Honorable Soipan to speak to us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Waziri. Welcome, Waziri.
Thank you very much. Asanteni sana. My sister Kabale, the CEO, National Land Commission. My brother Mali Ole Kaunga, the CEO, Impact. My sister Nairesia, my sister Ruth Emanikor, the county attorney for Turkana County. The Director for Community Lands Adjudication, Mr. Haemba. I see my brother Koisaba here, Dr. Koisaba, Tinkoi, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. Jambo. Mko salama? Okay, nimefurahi sana kuwa hapa siku ya leo. It's quite nostalgic standing here today. And I know Dr. Koisaba understands what I'm talking about. Because it's just amazing to see how some little efforts that were put in decades ago have borne a lot of fruit. Some maybe 15 years back, I know I would be sitting in this forum. That was in my previous life, the work I was doing. I see my sister Eunice. Did I see Eunice here? Eunice Nkopio, did I see you? Okay, I think I saw a few familiar faces here. And if you want to know the success I'm talking about, is when you see my sister Kabale being CEO of National Lands Commission. I don't know if any of you imagine the magnitude of that position and where we are coming from. Let's clap for our sister Kabale.
Ole Kaunga here, who we were in the trenches together, is now, I call him a donor. He's now a renowned donor. An international donor. Forums back in the around 2004, 2005, and now she's a county attorney at the county government of Turkana. That is very interesting. Nairesia, we were in the trenches together. She's a renowned international consultant by all standards, and working with a very, very pivotal program under Landesa, which has a very important contribution to the discussions that are happening here. Our sister school, she's a minister, she's a CS in charge of arid and semi-arid lands. Watu wa Turkana, see you in progress. Again, when we were in the struggle and trenches, you would never imagine that a Turkana girl would sit in cabinet. But here we are. And then none other than yours truly, sitting right at the table of cabinet and knowing where we are coming from. I think that is marked progress. And I know we have guests from different jurisdictions, different countries. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all. Here we have Tanzania, Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and any other participant who is outside of coming from outside of Kenya. Feel very much welcome. And just in case you're wondering what a CS for Defense is doing in a community land forum, it's because I am a pastoralist girl to start with. And number two, the issues under discussion today are the biggest source of conflict. Not managed properly, they cause a lot of conflict in our country. So it's a cause for concern, not just for the Ministry of Interior, but also the Ministry of Defense, because we have been forced to provide support for the National Police Service. For those of you from the north, you know the Operation Maliza Uhalifu. The KDF is providing support for the National Police Service. So I'm also here wearing the hat of the Minister of Defense, and to ensure that everybody is safe and feeling safe and secure, and indeed safe and secure. And when we get things right here in the discussions around community land, then it will go a long way in minimizing conflict. I'm told there is a bit of lack of clarity with this microphone. So I want to take again this opportunity to welcome you all. Like I said, I'm not new to the discussions around community land and the issues around securing the tenure for security for community land. I did participate as a member of the Community Land Task Force formed by the then Minister for Lands, the Honorable James Orengo. And it was a discussion, I'm sure Haemba, you know, the Community Land Task Force and the reports that came out of that. And the discussion was centering around implementation of the community land provisions of the Constitution. And again, we have marked a lot of progress with the enactment of the Community Land Act of 2016. The discussions we had under the various community, civil society forums are also a culmination of what we are seeing today. The discussion around alternative justice systems, I also had an opportunity to participate in a program supported by USAID that did a lot of background work to operationalize the constitutional provisions around alternative justice systems. And again, I'm very happy to see that we have made a lot of progress. Alternative justice systems are not at the peripheral anymore but form a very central role in ensuring that we deal with conflicts around community lands. The era of saying that pastoralism is backward, that pastoralists are anti-development, that pastoral lands are no man's land, those days are way behind us, isn't it? Yeah, with the provisions of the Constitution, the National Land Policy, the Community Land Act, we are indeed at a very, very crucial point where Dr. Koisaba knows that there were times when you try to do a forum like this in Nairobi, you would chew a lot of tear gas. Yeah, and we had a lot of running battles and bailing people out of court. And I'm very proud to say that under the administration of our government now, there is marked responsiveness. We have made the progress that we are talking about, and the representation of all the communities of this country in cabinet means that Kenya is for all of us, and we cannot remain at the periphery of things. We are right in the center. And Kaunga, by bringing this forum to Nairobi, you said you wanted to be close to government. You are in government, yeah? Surely, if I'm here to listen to the conversations of this forum and definitely defend them in cabinet, are you not in government? Yeah. My sister at school is a co-convener of this forum today. So which other government are you looking for? So we will not be forgiven if we miss this opportunity to actualize each and every speech. I'm just making a point that we are at a pivotal point. We have a lifetime, an opportunity of a lifetime that we must take advantage of. Na nikiwa hapa pia niko na blessing ya Waziri Alice Wahome. Yeah? Mimi niko hapa, ukisikia ile maneno nitaongea hapa, yametoka kwa desk ya Waziri wa Ardhi, Mheshimiwa Alice Wahome. So, na ningetaka kusema majadiliano yote ambayo yanatokana kwa hii forum, we need to package them properly. Be very clear. Tumetoka kwa ile enzi ya kupigana na serikali. Sisi ukijua mambo ya kupigana na serikali utuulize sisi na Koisaba Kaunga hapa. Lakini kwa mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu sasa tuko pale ndani. Kwa hivyo sasa sio mambo na kupigana na kufukuzana na serikali, ni kuweka matakwa yetu kinagaubaga na yaweze kuwasilishwa, na mko na sauti tosha katika cabinet ya kuweza kuwasilisha yale matakwa na kuhakikisha yametekelezwa. Ninajua pia ya kwamba there was the Wajir Forum, the Pastoralist Leadership Forum, ambayo ilifanyika Wajir. Na none other than His Excellency the President was part of that forum. Na kuna zile recommendations zilitolewa pale na zikatiwa sahihi, na as a matter of directive kutoka kwa President, kati ya hizo ilikuwa expediting the registration of community lands. So I can clearly say that the process of securing community land and registration being expedited is in the form of a directive from the head of state, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Na kwa hayo inatulazimu, we need to clearly crystallize those recommendations kutoka the Pastoralist Leadership Forum, from the Community Land Summit here, muwasilishe kupitia Ministry of Lands, na nimesema niko hapa kwa niaba ya Waziri wa Lands, ili tuweze kusongesha kwa upesi iweze kukamilika. Na also to say that the reason we are talking about registration of community lands, the reason we are talking about expediting securing of community land tenure is primarily to ensure securing the livelihoods of pastoralist communities. It is about the livelihoods. It is about optimum utilization of our resources. It is about guiding our communities to take advantage of the trends and changes that are coming up, through investments, government investments, that we must take advantage of. We are saying that the era of saying that pastoralists are anti-development are gone. And I indeed don't think there was an era where we said we don't want development. Ama kuna watu hawataki maendeleo. But what we are saying, where these investments are happening, and they're happening primarily within community lands, we need to have free prior informed consent. We need to have a clear spelling out of the community rights. We need to have maximization of benefit sharing protocols between the investors, the government, and the communities. Isn't that what we are saying? So just to briefly highlight a few things, again, which are coming through my engagements with the Ministry of Lands, through the Minister, is that, and I'm sure Mr. Haemba has stated some of this, is that the Ministry is involved in improving land governance structures and processes. And this resonates with the summit's agenda of enhancing local communities and indigenous people's livelihoods through secure tenure rights. And it is instructive to note that community land registration is a critical component of our land reform agenda, and that is from the Ministry of Lands. So some of the challenges that have been highlighted here: the painstakingly slow process of registration, the very expensive processes that go with the registration are not serving the purpose for which the community land reform agenda was designed. So we need to engage, again, following the directive by the President to expedite the process of community land registration, to look for ways to minimize the cost by integrating both science and community knowledge, and to mitigate the expenses that go with this registration process so that we can finish them in real time. The Community Land Act is a significant and progressive piece of legislation, we must all agree, because it seeks to confer tenure rights to Kenyans within community land. Lands which have largely remained outside the purview of the land registration matrix. This summit is therefore very much welcome. It's a welcome undertaking because it brings together state, non-state actors and communities, including those from beyond our borders. And it is to encourage the conveners of the summit to keep going, but we make sure that at every, because this is the 5th one, we must have success to mark at the 6th summit so that we are progressive as we move. I wish to add that we are making a lot of progress in the land registration, where we have a number of communities already registered in various counties, and there is a lot of active work going on across the country, leading to registration of more community lands. But the challenge of the slow pace and the expensive processes must be addressed. The registration, I want to emphasize how critical registration of community lands is with regard to opening up these areas for actualization of projects of strategic national importance. We have a number of community lands hosting projects ranging from the Lapset corridor, the oil project in Turkana County, the off-grid power stations, the geothermal development sites, wind power sites in many of our counties like Marsabit, the Horn of Africa Gateway Development Project, among others. And the implementation of these projects entails land acquisition and requires and the requisite compensation. And some registered communities have already benefited from this arrangement, but I think a huge challenge still remains in terms of lack of clarity of the benefit sharing formula, adequate compensation for communities. And I think this is a discussion we need to have, because we need to move to a position where when the projects are actualized, the communities become a central part of the shareholding of these projects that are going on within community lands. And with a very ripe opportunity for engagement with government, I think coming up with an outfit from this forum to provide some solid recommendations on how to maximize benefit sharing for communities is very crucial. Another area that requires a multi-agency concurrence is the establishment of urban jurisdictions within community land. We cannot wish this away. We have to think about it. We have to see how to maximize, because it goes without saying that the future of our socialization is urban, and urban settlements are developing within community lands at a considerable rate. And there is need to address these phenomena to safeguard the communal land rights, while also integrating the communities to the dynamics of urbanization. I think we will all agree, urbanization cannot be wished away. It's part of us. So how do we maximize without compromising the rights of the communities? And in respect of this, the county governments are encouraged and called upon to engage the community land management structures in place in the preparation and implementation of county special plans and on matters of development controls. And our sister Ruth here, I'm sure there is a way to network. I'm told we have 15 county governments represented here. The issue of urbanization, we need to bring it to the fore. Let's not put it under the carpet. Let's discuss it. How do we ensure that we maximize on it? It goes without saying that civil society organizations have a great role to play, and they must also come into this discussion, considering their interactions with the communities and their varied fields of engagement. Because compliance with the legal requirements will go a long way to safeguard urban developments against litigation and consequent negative implications for the communities. Allow me to say something on community conflicts around communities. Community land registration entails the adjudication of communal interests, as we all know, and this may occasion addressing competing and overlapping claims, and it requires elaborate consensus where the roles of state and non-state actors become very crucial. And it is already emerging, and we all know that differences among communities are causing a slowdown and even hindering progress. When we say that the process is expensive and lengthy because of the amounts of money that we need to go into it and the technicalities of surveying, cadastral maps and all that, there is also a big impediment that comes from the conflicts within the communities. When we do land adjudication, you know, communities turn against each other. We have, because I'm very much passionate and interested about community land rights, we have protracted conflicts from the 70s that are still lingering, hovering around us. And it is only at this time when the government has deliberately come out to push for expediting of this registration that we see movement. So the conflicts, vita katika community kwa land adjudication, pia ni jambo ambayo lazima liangaziwe. And court processes don't help anybody. I'm a lawyer, yes, but I think we have the alternative justice system. It is as legal as going to court. So I think we should take advantage of ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, again to quicken the process, because when we have people spending colossal amounts of money dealing with land adjudication cases, it does not help anybody. You know, it doesn't help the land officials and the governance mechanisms, Bwana Haemba. We also need to relook this, because you have a community land adjudication committee that assumes the role of ownership of the community land and wants to exclude everybody else. And they become dictatorial and they politicize the adjudication processes. I think we should not let this continue, because it is bringing a lot of suffering upon the communities. Because when you have a chairman of a community land adjudication committee or a chairman of a group ranch who goes harassing everybody, you know, threatening people that if you don't do this, I'm going to throw you into a rocky place. If you don't do this, I'm going to dispossess you. And these are things that are reality. Ama nyinyi hamjui hiyo maneno? Bwana Haemba, we need to crack the whip. You know, we need to crack the whip. We find out, is it the law that is the problem, or the enforcement, or our land registrars who may be colluding with these chairmen and committee members who become demigods in our land adjudication sections. I think we need to crack the whip and get that out of the way. So as we deal with the issue of how expensive it is for government, let's also look at those governance structures and come up with solid solutions that can bring change at that level. The issue of national values and principles need to be the guiding spirit for meaningful and sustainable benefit sharing arrangements for resources. We must have a heavy emphasis on sustainable benefit sharing arrangements of resources, heavy emphasis on inclusivity in the management of the land-based resources, and it would also be, we cannot overemphasize the importance of ADR. On the issue of conservancies, I will move very fast. The operation of the existing conservancies through the conservancy boards established under the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act, and their relationship with community land management committees need to be looked into. The conservancies play a very significant role in biodiversity conservation outside the KWS protected parks and reserves. They also contribute to livelihoods involvement for posterity and prosperity. And their sustainable operations are an important area of concern for government and should be an important area of concern for civil society organizations. Communities should therefore be guided carefully on the issue of conservancies. Again, we should have a clear guidance for communities on the way to formalize operations of these conservancies through land use planning, while giving prominence to free, prior, and informed consent by the communities in their establishment and operations. I think the new phenomenon around conservancies is one that we have to take advantage of. Again, with the enhanced and secure livelihoods being the core of our focus. There is general government effort around the national titling program, guided by the legislative and regulatory frameworks. But despite the national titling program, we have identified a number of challenges that need to be addressed for us to fully take advantage of the goodwill available. Further to the conferring of titles, the government does recognize that first registration in itself may not guarantee security of tenure for all segments of population. And this is particularly women, children, PWDs, among other vulnerable segments of the society. And the registration of community land has therefore to take care of the need for inclusivity, so that we don't have marginalization of the vulnerable groups. I think the statement that women don't make decisions has no place, because clearly women are making decisions and moving things, isn't it?
I can't accept that.
Whoever, one of our brothers who said that, please swallow it back and let us look at the participation and involvement of women constructively. It is not the way it was before, and it cannot be. If I am seated at the highest level of decision making in this country, and I'm not a man, I'm a woman, what do you have to say about that? And I'm doing my best. Yeah, I'm doing my best to push things wherever I am. So let us not continue with the unfounded, ungrounded misinformation around that women have no space in leadership. It has been overtaken by events. And if you remain there, utaachwa nyuma. So tutembee pamoja. Si namna hiyo. So let's work together. Persons living with disability, I think we should be the lens through which to ensure, Bwana Haemba, that even as we do the technical aspects of land registration and adjudication, we must have a clear lens, special lens, to make sure that we don't have iniquities going on around women, youth, children, and persons living with disability, orphans. Everyone should be carried along. The issue of climate change, I think it has been overstated, but it cannot be overemphasized. Understanding the emerging issues in the different landscapes, as well as the circumstances which are unique to each region and community with regard to culture and customs, is key for attaining optimal land administration solutions aligned to climate action. And incorporation of indigenous knowledge and indigenous science is very critical here. The national land policy, I know there is a review of the 209 policy that is going on. I think it's important that this forum engages very keenly. I'm happy to hear that there was a robust engagement with the national land policy review, so that we make sure that the issues of community land are very prominent under the review of the policy. I've talked about youth and gender inclusion, the strengthening of the governance systems within the community, and also for our young people. They are the ones who bring along the new technology that we have to embrace. Not to mention that when we exclude our young people from this securing of our community lands, securing of our land tenure, they turn negative to the process. How will you encourage them to continue participating in sustainable agriculture or livestock keeping if they are being sidelined in the governance and the day-to-day decision making? I think our young people need to be at the core, at the center of the discussions around community land. So I will not take much more time, but to say, as I conclude, that all this will be achieved through constructive dialogue, constructive engagement, because gone are the days when it was a shove and pull between government and civil society. Now it's a partnership, it's a collaboration. And my presence here, apart from saying I'm standing in solidarity with my brothers and sisters, is to emphasize that government is fully committed. When you see Mr. Haemba here, myself, and the CS for Lands represented here, my sister Kabale, the CEO of the National Land Commission, I don't think anyone has any doubt that government is committed to advance community land rights. It's upon the civil society organizations to come together. Mwache pia kufanya kazi in a very disjointed way. Kila mtu anakaa kwa kona yake na kabudget yake. Simu, you bring it together. I think if you put your heads together, unless you are a briefcase civil society organization, you should come together. Kama wewe si briefcase, utakuja kwa meza mkae pamoja. You know, when you pull your efforts together, then government is ready and willing. You have full political goodwill right now. So why don't you come together? We used to operate in very hostile environments, but now you have full government support and political goodwill. So when you come together also as civil society, na sasa si ile enzi ya vita na serikali, it is dialogue. You know, let's dialogue. Let's dialogue with our young people. Let's dialogue with our women. Let's dialogue with government. For sure, we are going to realize our objectives. The other hat, finally, that I'm also wearing here, and my sister mentioned, kwa sababu ya ile kazi yote nimefanya nikiwa civil society, sasa nikiwa government, and also noting that mashida haziishi, ni lazima tusaidiane, we complement what government is doing. So I started the Soipantuya Foundation. That's the other reason I was invited here by Kaunga, beside being cabinet secretary. And the operations of the Soipantuya Foundation focus on women, youth and children across all the pastoralist communities. So once in a while you will see the Soipantuya Foundation in Marsabit, you will see Soipantuya Foundation in Baringo, you will see Soipantuya Foundation in Laikipia and these other places, as we advance the same cause. So when I say let's pull our efforts together, I am also part of that process of, I'm only a patron of the Soipantuya Foundation, I don't work there, but I encourage them to pull together and work, because you're not reinventing the wheel. Kwani wewe ndio ulianza kufanya land rights ya community? Hapana, Tingoi. I know ulikuwa wale wa kwanza, lakini no one has monopoly. Na mashida ni nyingi, hatuwezi maliza. So don't hide in a corner, unachukia ule mwingine. Let's put our effort together. Kwa sababu tunataka kuona mabadiliko kwa communities zetu. Kwa hayo machache nasema, kwa hayo mengi sana. Nasema asanteni sana. God bless you and thank you for the invite. And again, you have the blessing of the CS for Lands, Honorable Alice Wahome. Asante.
Thank you so much. Can we be upstanding and give a round of applause to our CS, Soipantuya, for motivating us, for calling us to order, for challenging us to be able to do better, because she also has the burden on her shoulder as one of us. I say when the higher you go and the bigger you become in terms of power, more is also expected of you. So you can imagine the mass of people here and the indigenous people and all looking at you like, wewe ndo utapeleka hii message kwa ile ofisi. Si ni kweli? Yeye ndo anafanya nini? Anapeleka hii message kwa niaba yetu. So we want to say thank you for that. Na kabla hatujamwachilia, niliomba apokee maswali mawili kutoka kwa floor. Kwa sababu sometimes unajua pia kuwa mtu wa nyumbani, unless umepata nafasi ya kumzungumzia, yeye ametuambia, si ni kweli? So tunaomba tuketi chini, tumuulize maswali mawili. Najua pia kwa sababu ya kazi yake ana majukumu mengi na amezungumzia mambo mengi, pengine sitakuwa na muda wa kuyarecap sana. Na ameweza kuchanganya kidogo a bit of Kiswahili, which I want to congratulate her because at least tumeweza kutag along almost everyone. But importantly, ameweza kuelezea kwamba serikali ya Kenya imejitolea vikamilifu na kupitia statement ya serikali na ile declaration ambayo ilitoka kwa Indigenous Summit ya Pastoralist Leadership Summit ya mwaka uliopita December, na yale ambayo tumekuwa tukizungumzia kwa wakati mwingi. Serikali ya Rais Honorable William Ruto imejitolea na ikasema kwamba inataka ifuatilie kwa haraka kufanya registration ya community land. Lakini ili tuweze kufikia hayo malengo, ni vizuri tuweze kujipanga kwa sauti moja. Ili kama ni hiyo coordination na hiyo task force ambayo tumezungumzia, iweze kufikisha maombi hayo rasmi na kufuatilia imefikia wapi. Inatakikana ifanyike nini na nani afanye hivyo. Na yeye sasa Honorable Soipan akienda kwa ile cabinet pamoja na waziri wetu waobe ambaye ni wa lands, waende pale strategically waseme kwamba tunataka pengine budget iweze kuongezewa ili iwapatie pia ministry nguvu. Hii maneno ya kusema hatuna pesa si mzuri. Najua partners na recognize civil society wamefanya kazi mzuri kufikia mahali tumefika. lakini ministry wanasema pia hawana pesa, ndio sababu pengine hata officers kule mashinani wanakuwa wachache. Lakini tunajua pia tuko na changamoto zetu, kuanzia disputes za boundaries na kutoelewana, lack of coordination, goodwill ya county governments ya kufanya pia nafasi yao, na pesa ya sensitization pia inakuwa chache, ili watu waweze kuhamasishwa kudrive demand for what needs to happen. Madam CS, hii yote inawezekana. Tunasema inawezekana because tukishikana kwa pamoja, tupate nguvu yako na our CS wa lands, na pamoja na CS wengine, NLC, tunajua kwa mmekuwa mkijitolea hata kuangalia ni wapi mambo imefika, ili si report tena siendelee. Pengine we need a status report like today of what is the status as it is, what are the dynamics and what are the challenges. Tunajua World Bank walifanya report juzi, lakini sijaiona hiyo report kama imetolewa. Tunataka tuone what is the status and how can we be able to better do what we need to do. But I want to thank her on behalf of all of you, kwamba mahali tumefikia, we've seen progress and we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, as I said, more is expected. Na hii summit declaration pia tutaweza kupeleka kwa Ministry of Lands, and pia tutakupatia pengine copy ndio utusaidie pia kuona hii uhusiano itasaidia namna gani ku yield the best outcome for all of us, right? So allow me to open at least for maybe 2 questions, one lady, one gentleman. Naona mikono inaruka juu, so sijajua kwa muda, najua pengine masaa hayata turuhusu, lakini allow me to have the liberty to pick at least 2, alafu utatuambia kama utaweza kwenda kwa the next round. Kindly, I will take one from the gentleman here, and I need a lady. Wacha tupatie huyu madam. Kindly, if someone could help with the mic.
Mjambo. Mimi kwa majina naitwa Maka kutoka Garissa. Kusimama kwangu kwanza ninaona niko proud of myself, kwa sababu tumesema wamama wamesaulika, lakini hatujasaulika. Kama tuko na CS ni mama, na ni mama ambaye ametoka mashinani. We cannot say we are marginalized. Yangu ya pili, swali yangu ni sisi kama wafugaji, challenges zetu ziko sawa. Ikifika wakati wa ukame huwa tunaumia sana. My request is the government to allocate money to stand up with the indigenous communities wakati wa ukame. Alafu tunakuaga na committee at the county level na national level ya climate. We want the indigenous communities to be present at the national level and the county level. Na wamama tusisaulike. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, our colleague from Tanzania.
Ndio, asante. Mimi naitwa Kiaro Kubany kutoka Tanzania. Ni kiongozi wa mila. Kwanza kipekee mimi nimshukuru Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Ulinzi wa Kenya, kwa sababu mimi pekee nimefarijika kuona ameweza kuhudhuria kikao chetu cha wafugaji cha East Africa, nchi mbalimbali. Lakini nilikuwa nataka niulize swali moja kwa Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Ulinzi. Sisi hapa tumejumuika kama wafugaji wa East Africa, na nia yetu ni moja, kujenga East Africa kuwa nchi moja, na kuwa na wazo moja, na kuwa na mwelekeo moja. Sasa swali langu ni hivi, tunataka tutengeneze baraza la East Africa la wafugaji, ili kuweza kujenga hoja ya kwenda serikalini na kushawishi serikali ya nchi zote za Afrika kuweza kutambua wafugaji kama inavyotambulika wanyama duniani. Sasa je, kwa nafasi ulionayo kwa sasa, utawezaje kusaidia wafugaji hawa ili kikao hiki iwe endelevu, lakini kiwe kwenye msingi wa sheria na utaratibu kupitia nchi zetu mbalimbali? Asante.
Thank you very much. Madam says, can I add 2 more? I have permission to add 2 more. The gentleman pale kando kabisa alikuwa ameinua, if you can pass the mic. Na wache nipatie ule madam pale amekaa karibu naye.
Asante sana mheshimiwa, naitwa Alexander Kisioi kutoka Nakuru. Swali langu ni kwamba kuna jamii asili ambao wanaishi Narok wanaitwa Ogiek ambao waliweza kufurushwa katika kule nyumbani na kwa sasa wanaishi katika Sasimwani, wanaishi Ologirgirai. So ningependa kujua serikali wako na mpango gani kuhusu hao jamii ambao wameweza kufurushwa, kwa sababu ukifika pale Ologirgirai watoto wamekuwa drop out, hawaendi shule. So ningependa kujua mheshimiwa, serikali wako na mpango gani kuhusu jamii ya Ogiek?
My name is Arikal Immaculate from Turkana East. We should not always complain, other than some other times we should appreciate what is there. Mine is to appreciate the impact, the Kenya impact, for giving me Soipani Tuya as the head of that institute. Because I know that if a woman leads, there is transparency. There is a way and there is a solution for that problem. As she is from the community which is affected. So I'm so much appreciative of the impact Kenya for giving us these ladies around us. I'm happy as a kid parrot when it finds freedom at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Sasa hiyo haikuwa swali but an appreciation. Madam CS, wacha nichukue a gentleman over here at least niweze kudistribute kidogo, and that would be the last intervention.
Thank you. Kwa majina naitwa Paul Chepsoi na toka Baringo na pia chairman Community Land Owners Alliance of Kenya. Swali langu ni directly kwa waziri na ni kuhusu ardhi ambazo Ministry of Defense ina possess ama inachukua kwa pastoral communities. So nilikuwa na directly kwa sababu niliuliza swali Ministry of Lands kwamba utapata kwamba Ministry of Defense kwa hizo area jamii wanalalamika kwamba ardhi zao zimechukuliwa bila proper arrangement kutoka Ministry of Defense. Je, waziri ana maybe anasemaje kwa sababu kuna complaints from ancestral land Ministry of Defense imechukua na pia sisi tunaogopa wanajeshi. So sijui kwa sababu ni mama atasema nini.
Okay.
Asante.
Thank you very much. Let's allow her to respond to those questions.
Okay, asante sana for the questions. Most of them they come in the form of proposals. Dada yetu Maka from Garissa anasema the need for government to allocate money to stand with the marginalized communities wakati wa drought. Na I think that is a very pertinent issue. I can tell you the discussions that are ongoing right now in government is to do away with the ad hoc nature with which we respond to cyclic droughts. In as much as droughts are very unpredictable these days, zamani ulikuwa unajua after 2 years ndio drought inakuja after a certain time, but with the climate change issues, it is unpredictable. But the discussions going on is to make sure that the relevant ministries, agriculture, water and irrigation, the ASAL's ministry, to come up with sustainable solutions. Sio zile ambazo wakati drought imefika ndio tunapeleka chakula northeastern ama hizi sehemu ambazo zimekuwa affected na drought. We need to maximize on water harvesting across the country. Wakati drought ina happen, there is a lot of water that gets wasted. Yet there are mechanisms. We have drought-stricken countries that are doing massive irrigation, and the cases are there. So it's possible to come up with the sustainable solutions. I can assure you that discussion is happening at the relevant ministries, beside the special unit under the Ministry of Interior that responds to the drought crisis. Ingine uliuliza ni climate committees that grassroots groups need to be part of. When I was Minister for Defense, the first thing we made sure to do is to have a climate unit in each and every ministry, department and agency of government, which are now fully operational. But we started the process of decentralizing at county level and beyond county to go to the various administrative units. I know that is also ongoing. It's a new process that had started, but definitely it must be done because the solutions are from the grassroots communities. Science alone cannot deal with climate change. In fact, science cannot deal with climate change without indigenous knowledge and information. So we have to have incorporation of indigenous knowledge by representation at those management climate units. Ndugu yetu Kialo kutoka Tanzania umeangazia jambo la busara sana. Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ni unit ambaye tuko nayo. Sisi hapa Kenya hata tumetengeza ministry, wizara ambaye inaangazia mambo ya East Africa Community, na kwa uwezo wa Mwenyezi Mungu yule ambaye anasimamia ile ministry ni mmoja wetu mfugaji. Msichana wetu anaitwa waziri ya school. So jambo hilo ni la busara kabisa, na ningependa kuwahimiza yale mapendekezo ambayo yatatokea kwa huu mkutano muweze kuweka pale, iweze kupelekwa to the next level, kwa sababu changamoto za wafugaji haijalishi kama uko Uganda, Tanzania ama Ethiopia ni zile zile, na tukiweza kuweka sauti yetu pamoja na mikakati ya kutatua changamoto itaweza kutupeleka mbali. Ndugu yetu Kisioi kutoka Nakuru. Yes. Ameongelea mambo ya Ogiek community kutoka Sasimwani Olekirikirai. Na najua hii ni jambo ambalo liko live kwa sasa, na kuna process ile ya historical injustices around the forest communities, na dada yangu Kabale hapa anaijua. Tuliweza kuestablish task force pale kwa Ministry of Environment ambayo inaangazia maneno haya, na ingawaje siwezi kwa uhakika kusema wakati pale umefika kwa sasa, but wale jamii wa Sasimwani Olekirika iko kwa county ambayo mimi natoka, najua mambo haya yanaendelea pale, na kuna hilo jopo ambalo linaendesha hilo jambo, na tumai ya kwamba itaweza kukamilika kwa uharaka. Ama decisions, nafikiri amesha tema hiyo mate tayari, si ndio? So tuendelee kusaidiana. Mama, nilisema miaka 15 iliyopita mimi nilikuwa mwanaharakati wa mambo haya ya mambo ya community land, na nikiona wasichana wadogo ambao wako kwa hii forum ni kuwaeleza waendelee kujikakamua, kwa sababu ile kidogo unachangia kwa sasa itaweza kukupeleka mbali. So tushikane pamoja, kina mama, wazee, vijana, kila mtu, everyone has a role to play. Paul Chepsoi, KDF land issues, very pertinent question. Najua kuna changamoto nyingi kila sehemu. Najua Marsabit kuna mambo ya shamba pale Karare, Laikipia kuna shamba fulani hapo, nimesahau jina lake, Isiolo, sehemu mbalimbali. Na kwanza ni kusema acquisition ya mashamba ya KDF haiendi kwa ministry, ni kwa sababu ya strategic positioning ya KDF kwa sehemu ambazo zinahitaji reinforcement ya security. Na ukiangalia sana ni zile border points za nchi yetu, kwa sababu jukumu la KDF ni kuhakikisha kuna hiyo protection ya borders na ku protect our territorial integrity ya nchi, So ya kwanza kabisa ambayo huwa napenda kuambia wananchi, mashamba haya hayanyakuliwi kutumika kwa minajili mingine, ni kustawisha defense ya nchi yetu. Ya pili ni kusema kwamba kuna malalamishi ama conflicts ambazo zinatokana na ukosefu wa proper involvement, kwa sababu ikiwa ni for security reasons that land needs to be acquired by the Kenya Defence Forces, ni kwa sababu ya usalama wako, lakini pia lazima ifanywe kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Tumeweza kubuni kamati na labda sijui kama kuna watu kutoka ninajua watu wa Karare tumekuwa involved na wao, na wengine kutoka Kajiado. Tumebuni kamati pale kwa Ministry of Defence ya kuzunguka kuangazia hayo mambo yote hadi tuafikiane, kwa sababu it's for your own security, it's for the security of the country that KDF needs that land. It is also an opportunity for KDF to engage in humanitarian and civic action, CSR activities pale, kusaidia wananchi. Na kama vile ulisema mnaogopa KDF, KDF wakikuwa positioned mahali, you can be assured wahalifu wataogopa pia na watatoroka. So it becomes a security point. But mambo ya mashamba tunaangazia, tunazunguka kuhakikisha ya kwamba due process inafuatwa, communities wanakuwa involved, na where there is need to move people, it has to be done with the due process in mind. Asanteni sana na washukuru. Mungu awabariki.
Hiyo ni makofi ya CS kweli. Wacha tupashe moto, wacha tupashe moto. Kuna ile wanasema pasha moto, pasha moto, pasha moto. Alafu tukipiga tunapiga mara 3, alafu tunapasha moto tunapiga mara nyingine 3. Sawa? Pasha moto, pasha moto, pasha moto, twende. Asante CS kwa usaidizi wako, kwa support yako, kwa kuwa ni kiongozi wa kutegemewa, na kuwa wewe ni mwanamke ngangari, umejitolea na unapeana pia mwongozo kwa wasichana hata wadogo na sisi kama akina mama. So pongezi sana. Sisi tumeshukuru. Na tunajua tumekupatia majukumu makubwa, lakini tunajua kwamba unatosha hayo majukumu. Si kweli? Asante sana kwa kujitolea kwako, na tunasema asante. Sijui kama Bwana Ole Kaunga ungekuwa na ya kusema kwa kumalizia, alafu tuweze kuwa release for lunch. Na kulingana na utaratibu, naona kuna mzee amesimama. Ungependa kusema jambo? Okay. Ukiniruhusu Madam CS. Kindly. Na utabidi useme kwa only 1 minute. Kwa heshima ya CS tafadhali.
Asante sana. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Sameri ama Fred kutoka Samburu. Na natoa shukrani kwa CS Soipan Tuya pamoja pia na Tashe ambaye ni viongozi pastoralist. Swali langu ni hivi. Tuko na mashida historical land injustices ambaye imefanyika around 1970s there. Na communities kwide bado wanadidia haki zao. Ardhi zao zimechukuliwa na wachache ambaye wakati hizo communities hawakuwa wanajua haki zao. Na mara mingi hizi cases ziko kotini. Some are very active in the courts, singine labda iko dormant in the process of the courts. Nilikuwa nataka kuomba CS, kwa sababu tulikuwa siku moja na National Land Commission, na ya kwamba shida kubwa ambayo kwa nini hawafikii communities hawana fedha, hijatengwa fedha kwa hiyo department ya National Land Commission kufikia kusikia kilio za watu huko wafugaji. Nilikuwa nataka kukuomba kwa heshima, najua ile kazi mzuri mmefanya ukiwa hata Minister for Environment, particularly on the carbon regulations, ambaye communities za wafugaji wengi wamefaidika sana. Hiyo ni shukrani kubwa. Jaribu angalia hiyo, tunakunyenyekea, na pia tunaomba serikali yetu ambaye ni serikali ya wafugaji, pastoral communities, ambaye tuko na confidence ya kutosha kabisa. Now I want to say congratulations and pass our greetings to the President of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto. Thank you.
Sijajua kama ungependa kurespond kwa hiyo, lakini naomba tu ukubali kupokea hiyo statement vile imepeanwa, na kupitia communique ya hii forum itakufikia na itatilia nguvu ile tumesema pia kwa overall budget for registration, ukiwa kwa ile cabinet pamoja na CS wa lands, tunawatuma tafadhali, hii mfuko ya serikali next budget lazima tuone kitu imeinuka, si ni kweli? Na pia na hiyo for us to be able to register the land inamaanisha hiyo question mzee amepeana ya historical injustice must be addressed, because it's also a source of the conflict that we are experiencing in a number of the communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this conversation has to continue, but in another time, okay? But allow me to ask our CS na viongozi hapa wasonge mbele for a group photo, alafu baada ya hapo tutawaruhusu wao kuondoka kwanza, kisha tutajipatia nafasi ya kwenda lunch for 1 hour, then tutaweza kurejea hapa. Is that okay? Okay, so for a group photo, allow me to join. Ministry, please. County official yoyote yako hapa? So partners ambao wako hapa, please. Ministry of Environment, kama mmefika, partners mnaweza kuja mbele. Tunaweza pata a few representative from the community. Najua tuko wengi sana, kwa hivyo haitawezekana kuja kwa kila mmoja, but please wachache wanaweza ingia kwa picha. Okay. Utabidi uende pande ya nyuma tafadhali. Hii imetosha, inatosha, tuna represent So mnaweza chukua nice photos please. Make a smile kidogo. So tumeruhusiwa sasa, ili kuongezea idadi mtakuja wengine, lakini tutasimama upande wa chini. Sisi tutashuka chini na wengine watakuja juu. Wapi? So wale walikuwa kwa jukwaa tunashuka chini, wengine mnaenda juu. So wote mnakuja juu, wale walikuwa kwa jukwaa wanashuka chini. Okay, sorry, samahani, mimi ndo nimewachanganya. Watu warudi kwa viti vyao, lakini msogee kwa hivi viti vya mbele, lakini mtasimama. Kila mmoja atakuwa anaangalia mbele. Wacha tupate mwelekeo kamili.
Yes. Yes. So kila mtu arudi kwa viti vyao ndo tupate kupiga picha sisi wote pamoja na CS wetu. So tutaruhusu CS akuje na ashuke chini pamoja na wageni wetu wote, tupige picha hapa. Sasa sisi wengine tubaki tu kwa viti vyetu, tutasimama tukiwa kwa viti vyetu ndo tuweze kupiga picha.
Okay, I hope tumeeleweshwa vizuri. So inamaanisha wageni wote tushuke chini, wengine wote mtarudi kwa viti vyenu na bado mtakuwa mmesimama mahali mlikuwa mmeketi. So tafadhali tunaweza fanya hivyo. So tafadhali, sisi picha itatuchukua wote mahali utakuwa the only thing mnabidi msimame ndio muweze kuonekane kwa picha. So tafadhali wale mko kwa viti naomba msimame, na pengine unaweza kaa kuingia kwenye kiti at least ionekane ulikuwa unakaa. Unajua hii picha inakuwaga mzuri for hata ya kutumika kwa report. So if you can just simama mahali ulikuwa unaketi inakuwa better, si ndio? Na ndio tuweze kuchukua picha kwa pamoja. Okay.
So 3, mwangalie kamera. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Ya mwisho sasa tunafanya hivi. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Asanteni sana. So tutamruhusu Madam CS aondoke. Alafu tutachukua break, tutarudi hapa saa 9 kamili. Saa 9 kamili, tafadhali tuweke muda. Wote tunaalikwa kwa chakula. Kama kuna zile coupons za lunch, please wale wanapeana be on standby on all the doors. Tunakutana hapa wote saa 9 kamili.